Check 1 2. What's up, y'all? I'm Mr. Subconscious. Let's have some more inner dialogue. So, title of this today is, do fine women affect your cup? You're cool under pressure. You know, I don't know if y'all have some friends that may be totally different with you or a group of guys. And then as soon as some women enter the dynamic, they're completely different. Completely different. And different can mean different things. It's not a negative thing. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be different, right? But the different tends to be negative. You know, the first question is honestly, why do they do that? Right? And different people have different pasts and various experiences that make them react a certain way to the opposite gender. You know, like girls who have issues with their dad, they may act totally different when a man with some power comes in the room, right? You know, boys who have problems with their mom, they may act totally different when, you know, a certain type of woman walks in the room, right? It is it's a natural process. But we've been talking about this cup, right? Cool under pressure. Cool under pressure. And I think the misconception is that people believe that cool under pressure is just for uncomfortable or negative situations, right? But they never look at how to remain cool under pressure they may want, right? They never look at remaining cool under pressure in relation to that girl they think is fine, right? And I don't mean cool under pressure so that you could go talk to her, or cool under pressure so that you know, you could turn on that persona and, you know, think you got the juice a little bit, right? I'm talking about that cool under pressure that you're not worried about her. That mind control over Debo. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have mind control over Debo. And you know, that's a more subtle thing. That's a more subtle thing. If you got a girlfriend or, you know, you attractive, you may be used to female attention in certain ways. And this attention, you probably capitalized on it in a lot of ways. I know I did, right? But over time, you start to crave more out of life. You know, you start to, it's a mixture of craving more out of life and your hormones calming down a little bit. As well as you add in a pinch of, you know, you changing because you're gaining more discipline. That's a different journey. That's a different journey. So why do they do that, right? Why do so many men act different when they're around women? They turn on their counterfeit personas, you know. Shout out Warren B. Shout out Pimp God, man. I learned a lot from that guy. Only had a brief interaction with him in comments, but he gives game every day, man. I got that term counterfeit personality from him. But They turn on their counterfeit personality. They try their best to show their best face. Change is never quiet. Like, oh, to get quiet or to get more observant. It's always like the change I'm talking about is that person that wants to be boisterous, show off, and appease them. And that comes with a psychology, right? That comes with a certain psychology. We've been talking about how a lot of men have the goals that they have because of the possible future women they will pull. It's not centered around freedom. It's not centered around activities or passions. Just around what do the women like? You feel me? What do the bitches like? What do they want? Right? Like somebody like Dan Bilzerian. Right? He built a nail salon just so chicks could be around. Now, granted, I understand it's a part of his brand in certain ways, right? But he's different from most men. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing or that he is in a bad place. I'm saying that part of being cool under pressure means knowing how to be cool when you're aroused, right? How do you stay cool when you're aroused? When a woman is your type, she may be a seductress too. She may be adept at knowing how to read and knowing how to manipulate men. But a lot of guys don't see women as people capable of danger. And so they're always in this mode or capable of being dangerous. I'm sorry. They're always in, and so it puts them in this mode where they only look at them as sexual objects in such a dehumanized form that they can't even see how human they are or how calculated they are. Right. And it's very funny how typically a lot of the views that stronger, more energetically masculine men view women, some of their views are considered misogynistic. But really, most motherfuckers are actually truly misogynistic in their mind, in the sense that a woman is either a Madonna or a whore, in the sense that a woman is only to be protected, never to be feared, right? And this change that occurs is really because they don't have a concept of danger unless it feels bad. Now, if you related it to crack and said, yo, this crack is gonna feel good, you should try it, they would completely understand. Like, yeah, it might feel good, but that shit is dangerous. But for some reason, they never look at women that way. They never look at women that way. Now, granted, I was raised in certain contexts that showed me the dark side of women very early. I was a little boy, when I was first taken advantage of by a grown woman, right? And I didn't even know how problematic that was until my mid-20s, right? It's a interesting thing when men center their whole life around pulling women because of what they're thinking about on a pleasure basis. But they never ask themselves, what and why? What and why? You know, having that much blood in your penis from adolescence all the way up to adulthood and farther, you not really got much blood in your brain. You don't really got much blood in your brain left, man. And therefore, you don't think clearly. You don't think clearly. In yoga, there's a particular term called brahmacharya, which is where you practice seminal retention and retain it until that virya or life force becomes ojas, right? Or sexual force becomes life force, right? Or ojas. And lustful thoughts are actually the basis of it. Abstaining from ejaculation and sexual activity is already a given, but lustful thoughts is the actual challenge. You can't be a true brahmachari if you can't rid yourself of lustful thoughts during that process. Now, that's a drastic thing for the general populace, right? But when you really observe male and female dynamics, and just dynamics as a whole, most people don't think women can be dangerous, man. Most people don't think that. Especially not a man who's trying to screw said woman. To him, he's like, she's weaker than me. So, you know, I'll handle myself if she tries something or whatever, right? Most men wouldn't hit a female. Not that I would. But I'm saying most men wouldn't hit a female. But it's not because they don't believe in equality per se. It's because they can't deal with that cognitive dissonance of conditioning that taught them that only men are dangerous. Right. And that danger doesn't feel good. It's a lot of street niggas that got set up by women. The woman didn't pull the trigger, but she set the trap. Right. But we started off with an example of a friend. Like, in this example, one of my homies, and we still tight to this day, like, that's my nigga. But we have disagreements from time to time. And one of the disagreements we had was surrounding how he acts when girls come in the room, or when a girl comes in the room. And I was like, man, you ain't never this pleasant or respectful when women ain't in the room. But it's like they just brighten your day. Just being around them just brightens your day. And he'll go out his way in ways he won't. And it's not like they even, is trying to have sex with him, right? But just that possibility evoked so much out of him. And it's a lot of guys I was like that in college, right? Especially in college, man. Like, I was pretty even killed when it came to that. I might make my voice a little deeper, whenever I'm trying to, you feel me? But I wouldn't really treat her any better or any different than another person in the room, especially if she wasn't somebody that I was in a relationship with. It's guys that will be willing to, you know, pay for women's everything. But at the end of the day, this mindset is actually a trick mindset. Excuse me. It's a trick mindset. And a trick isn't just born. He's conditioned. He's conditioned. Believe it or not, most people are actually conditioned to ignore the truth and like it. The liking it part is the choice. But most people were lied to in society, myself included. But there comes a time where, the reality of that sets in, and you can either decide to confront that cognitive dissonance or not. And when they decide that cognitive dissonance is no longer going to serve them in their life, it's usually after they discover how dangerous that woman that they gave favor for no reason actually is. Pleasure and distraction and beauty and vanity are things that can be more dangerous than natural disasters. You'll instinctively run away from a predator or a tornado, lightning, even some goddamn raindrops. You run away. But the most dangerous thing to all men is a woman that knows how to play with them. That's the most dangerous creature on earth. Most dangerous creature on earth. Men wouldn't run towards a tiger. They wouldn't run towards a hurricane. They wouldn't run towards a volcano. But let a bad bitch that smell good and knows how to talk to you, touch you the right way. And not only would they run towards, but they would destroy anything that got in their way. That's an anomaly, man. And I think more people need to explore that. But to explore that honestly and without a form of sexual bias takes a lot of self-control. Talking to a fine woman, if you a straight male, right? and you talking to a woman that is everything that you like, maintaining your cup, your cool under pressure when you are aroused is something that only men in the game have practice with. Only men in the game have true practice with that. Some people may be naturals and they may get off, but only if you're in the game is that really a major component of your character just off base. Which is why I think a lot of young men should have, like, they should be taken through the ringer by women as early as possible. As early as possible, especially if you had a really good mom. If you had a really good mom, your bias of, how most women are is skewed because a lot of guys who have super good moms and a low dating history have an unrealistic outlook on how women are in intimate relationships rather than familiar relationships. And so a lot of their imprints are centered around a maternal love and not a sexual one. And so that assumption translates to sexual relationships and dynamics, even though the feelings are there, in a woman that isn't a family member. So a lot of guys really don't think women are dangerous, man. They don't think that they should have a cool under pressure when it comes to their arousal in the presence of a woman that is exactly what they like. I see a woman that is my type and I immediately become very cautious. Because not scared, but cautious. Because the interesting thing is, the amount of time spent just thinking about what you want to do, what you could do, yada yada. Man, that in itself is very large waste of time. Large waste of energy, large waste of space, large waste of a lot of things. But they don't see it necessarily as a waste. And most of the time it's because, a lot of guys never, ever in a life got control of their libido. They never got that. The girls actually operate on a level of game that is astoundingly higher than most men, which creates the illusion of greater capability. But it's not. It's just that the men don't develop their capability. And so it creates this illusion. And it's difficult to even relay this message to men. Most niggas look up content on how to get girls, not be weary of them. But if you notice, the men who are careful actually get the most intrigue by them. Because everybody else want to smell the kitty cat. I don't want to smell your kitty cat. Might be nice. My toy soldier might want to smell your kitty cat, but I don't want to smell your kitty cat. And I'm the general of my toy soldier. Somebody write, I'm the general of my toy soldier in the chat. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be the general of your toy soldier. So if a beautiful woman can take your cool under pressure, make you jump, try to flirt with you, see where you at, measure you up, that's something you should try and work on. Don't have the same chink in your armor that most men do. Your chinks in your armor should be a little bit harder to reach. That's really the goal, is to strengthen certain aspects of your weakness. The goal is really to gain higher levels of self-control, man. Because the funny thing is, man, that moment is so key, but no one thinks farther. Can you imagine if you got every single thing that you wanted from this woman? What would it be? Better yet, let's actually go down that road, but on a little detour, slight detour. Let's take it a step further. So we've discussed a friend who always acts different when he's around, women of his type. Becomes a totally different person. Not in a bad way, not in a good way, just clearly on some Machiavellian shit, trying to get something, right? No problem. A man's a man. I've done it. No issue, no judgment. But let's shift, right? You ever been out with a girl, whether you were a child, teenager, and you realized she actually wasn't what you thought? Better yet, you ever in adulthood maybe vibe with a chick or like a chick, and then you have all of these sexual fantasies, and then you actually sleep with her and it was bad? It was really bad. That's a different experience, man. So it doesn't necessarily even have to come from a danger perspective, but a real disappointment perspective. A lot of guys should value their sexual energy and their sexual attention enough to give it to a woman who actually values them. They can understand the concept of not eating a cupcake every time they want one. or even not lashing out on somebody and with road rage, but they can never understand the concept of not giving their toy soldier a mission to go kill something. They don't understand that concept. And because it's taboo, you know, they don't get any help. But these are the real bases of where a lot of men's problems come from. They want to be motivated out of their problems, but that motivation can only come from understanding your desires. Your desires can bring you a lot of problems. If you're not keen on understanding some of these, real intricate dynamics within yourself as a man, a really refined harlot will make you fold. Because she knows, man. She knows what you want. They know that's what you want. Power is in making sure that your big head and your little head have a rank in order. One is the general of the whole army, big commander in chief. The other one must always remain a private. Pun intended. Must always remain a private. Somebody type private in the chat, man. Your big head must be the general, the commander in chief over the private petty officer that's always on the scope. And this level of self-control must start with your type. Actively try and place yourself in rooms with women that you feel are extremely beautiful, great energy, all kinds. And exercise self-control. Not even bringing up pursuit, but trying to peel back some of those layers of that onion. Most men talk to women so little and listen so little that they never really reach a place where it's like, this turns me off. Like, I've literally never heard. I've heard probably 2 people, and they were both my OGs, who said, yeah, that just really turned me off from her. She said this and it just turned me off. Nah. Never heard that. Literally hardly ever heard from homies to, people outside this space, because only people in this space talk like this, right? And people who's in the game. And that's who created this space, people in the game, right? People with that ism. I have never heard any of my male friends who was like, yo, man, she said this and I was so turned off from her, man. Didn't even want to have sex with her. But I've heard women every day every single day of my life. Have the most attractive man to them that they want, and then say, man, he said something and I just knew I couldn't. I was like, damn, why all these women? Like, I can name so many and so many examples from personal, women who have confided in me to just me overhearing women who have cut the advances of men because of something that they said that just turned them off. And it was usually around their benefit. A lot of women are capable, most women actually are capable of withholding sex even from someone they want to have sex with until they get benefit. Whereas for a lot of men, the sex is their benefit in their mind. And then after they get that, they're like, she doesn't want to do this. She don't want to cook. She don't want to eat. She don't want to. She don't want to. But all the benefit they wanted was that. Turning a 304 into a housewife stems from these psychologies of low self-esteem. To think that you are not valuable enough as a man in your own mind. For a woman to have to prove herself to you, whether it be through a conversation, a few weeks of real connection. But to a lot of men, women don't have to prove themselves. Prove themselves worthy as a friend. They don't have to prove themselves worthy as a sexual partner. They don't have to prove themselves worthy as an intimate partner, let alone a wife. And that power dynamic all stems back to how quickly she can pour you out your cup the first time you meet her. They could just look at you, pour you out, drink you up. Pun intended. Pour you up, drink you until your cup is empty. Changing your psychology around your sexual habits is a long process. It's been almost 10 years since I started this process. And the wisdom is just being gleaned in the last few. And I ain't even 30. And men will sell their soul for that pleasure. But they won't sacrifice that moment. Just that moment, man. What you like to do? What are your hobbies? What's to you? They're not turned on by more than a body. They don't care about more stimulation than a body. Instagram booty has fried the dopaminergic response system. They dopamine pathways destroyed. Can't even get no pleasure from hearing a woman's voice anymore. It's a very interesting thing, man. Very interesting thing. But you know, on the journey of making sure your cup stays full, you're cool under pressure. Pressure in science is measured differently depending on where you're at. Well, to an extent. But there's different kinds of pressure, which is the point, right? There's, compression. You can think of it like a hydraulic press, right? There's atmospheric pressure, which is very different from water pressure. Air can compress you. Water can compress you. Objects can compress you. And it's better off to start to measure that, right? You wouldn't climb Mount Everest without accounting for air pressure. Neither would you dive to the depths of the ocean without accounting for water pressure. She'll dive into some pussy without accounting for some pussy pressure. That's if niggas even dive into the pussy. They already getting pussy pressure even before they in the pussy. Getting pressed to death. Pleasure is pressure too. And you gotta learn how to keep your cool under that pressure.